Right now at 6, for the first time, we're hearing from a Hillsborough grandfather detained by federal agents in what his family calls a case of mistaken identity.
It was just nothing but joy. We just hugged, crying for, I don't know for how long, but that was the happiest moment in my life.
I'm Devin Haskins in Newport. Local leaders raising concerns over federal silence about a potential ICE detention facility here on the coast and say moving a Coast Guard helicopter because of it could put lives at risk.
Then, as the Supreme Court extends a freeze on food benefits, pantries scramble to meet the needs of struggling families.
People are starving out here, and they don't need to be starving.
And later on this Veterans Day, the new local shelter in the works, offering recovery and hope for those who've sacrificed and served their country.
So I think when we ramp up in early December, it's going to be a full house.
First here at 6, after nearly a month in ICE custody, a Hillsborough grandfather is now back home with his family. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanit.
And I'm David Molko. For the first time, Victor Cruz is speaking out about his experience and his case, which by all accounts does not appear to be over. Let's go right to Alma McCarty live in Hillsborough. So Alma, what did he tell you?
Yeah, Christine, David, obviously this was really tough at times for Victor to talk about. He's got no criminal record. He's never been to jail. And he described the conditions up in Tacoma at that detention center as really cold and harsh. He wasn't sure if he was going to be getting out or if he was going to be getting deported. Now, on Friday, Cruz was released on bond after an order from a federal district court judge. He's lived in Oregon since he was 18 years old, and he's been in Washington County for decades now. It was on this stretch of road not far from downtown Hillsborough where he was picked up on October 14th. Now, Cruz says he saw an SUV behind him, lights turned on, and he pulled over. He told them his name and got out of the car, voicing that he wasn't resisting arrest and mentioning a leg injury. He says this was a case of mistaken identity, as federal agents were looking for another man by the same name who had a criminal history.
I told them I have a permit to work legally here. And one of the officers told me, show me that. And I just pull it from my wallet and I show it to him. And he goes, this is nothing. You are not allowed to be here. This doesn't protect you from us.
Now, as he told me, this was just the beginning of what he called a nightmare, and he knows his fight isn't over. He's got to first check in with immigration this upcoming Thursday at 9 a.m. And you're going to hear more from Victor tonight at 11. David, Christine, back to you.
Alma McCarty in Hillsborough. Alma, appreciate your reporting. Well, speaking of immigration, developing tonight, the city of Newport is trying to get more answers on what officials say is a potential ICE detention facility in the works.
The city learned about it when a third party filed a letter of intent indicating the federal government was planning to rent several acres near the airport at the Coast Guard Air Base. City and state officials say their calls and emails to Homeland Security have so far gone unanswered.
We're also trying to better understand what the plans are for a potential ICE operation out at the airport. And the evidence that's coming to us is suggesting that they're looking at a detention facility that could hold 500 people. 500 people, and that's going to have an effect on water, on sewer, on traffic, and certainly on the small businesses that are located here throughout the community, in hospitality, fish processing, where a lot of the immigrant community is currently working.
The city plans to hold a public meeting on this topic tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
All right, to breaking news now, with the Supreme Court extending its pause on full SNAP payments for a few more days, indicating it thinks this will be resolved when the government reopens.
While the shutdown may end soon, families are still swamped with uncertainty. Libby Dowsett is live at the Northeast Emergency Food Pantry, where more people are showing up to stock their shelves. Libby.
Yeah, Christine, doors will stay open through 6:30 tonight here as people make their way in to get food boxes. Now, the demand has been huge this past week, and not just here at this larger shelter, but also smaller shelters all around the region.
We're trying to make it in this world. This is a tough world out here.
Drivers lining up for more than 5 blocks Tuesday, waiting nearly 2 hours, all for a food box from Northeast Portland's Love Our City food pantry.
Last week they were pouring out onto 60th.
Folks from the nonprofit greeting drivers and hearing their stories.
I feel kind of ashamed having to come up here and ask for food, but at the same time I am so grateful because we get things up here that I can't afford to buy.
James Doobie admits he's been getting by on just oatmeal.
You can't afford to eat healthy if you're lower income. Everything that's healthy for you is too expensive.
Volunteers and staff filling food boxes with anything healthy they can get their hands on.
We're looking for protein, quality protein, so fish, chicken, beef, pork, whatever we can get.
Trying to assure this crowd, SNAP or not, they'll get their food. Tuesday, the Supreme Court extended an order blocking full SNAP payments, creating at least a few more days of chaos, while lawmakers try to figure out a way to reopen the government and fully fund SNAP.
People are just nervous about what's going to happen with that safety net that they thought would always be there that now isn't.
Phyllis Clay saying she had to put off her bills for a month to make sure she had enough money for food.
It's very frustrating because I'm not used to this. I'm used to my bills being paid on time. And, making a choice has to be done.
Other drivers picking up supplies for their neighbors in need.
There's so much. People are hurting so bad, and then something's got to change.
People are starving out here, and they don't need to be starving. They really don't. This is America. America.
And despite the ruling from the Supreme Court this afternoon, states like Oregon and Washington have already issued full SNAP benefits for the month of November, and there's no word yet if the federal government will be allowed to recall that money back. Back to you guys.
A lot of people making tough, if not impossible, decisions right now. Thanks, Libby. Meanwhile, a bill to end the government shutdown approved by the Senate is now headed to the House.
House Speaker Mike Johnson plans to bring it to a vote tomorrow afternoon, but Democrats say it's missing funding to extend health care subsidies. Republicans agreed to take up that issue by mid-December, though some lawmakers now want tighter abortion restrictions tied to the deal. It's a move Democrats call a non-starter. Even if this bill passes and the president signs off, it only keeps the government funded through January, meaning another shutdown could be around the corner.
Well, tonight we are also tracking cancellations and delays at PDX as flights cuts tied to the government shutdown and air traffic controller shortages continue. Today, 23 flights have been canceled and so far 19 delayed. Nationwide, the FAA has ordered airlines at 40 major airports to cut about 6% of scheduled flights this week, though some have cut more, with those numbers set to go up every day this week. And some 6 weeks in, stay with KGW, of course, for continuing coverage of the push to reopen the federal government. Look for the latest here on KGW.com and on our free TV app, KGW+.
Okay, we're also keeping tabs on the forecast because a change is on the way.
And Matt, sounds like it's time for the rain gear and umbrellas to make their return.
Yeah, not quite yet, though. We have another dry day before we get into the rain. So things are looking pretty good for tomorrow, although it's not going to be clear blue sky. But hey, it should be rain-free. We're 52 degrees right now, and it's mainly cloudy. Any breaks in the clouds would be great because there's been a lot of chatter about the northern lights being visible tonight around the U.S. We'll talk about that one later on. 56 was our high today, 58 in Hillsborough, made 60s in Roseburg and down on the southern coast and over in eastern Oregon as well. And around the country, there's also been a lot of chatter about how cold it got back east, and it did. But today, the high, 60 in St. Louis. Atlanta only made 50, but hey, well above freezing, and they'll be in the 70s there a couple days from now, so things will be modifying quite a bit for us. Temperatures staying about where they are. Warms up a little bit more tomorrow. Should make it up to 63 in the afternoon. But notice lots of clouds, but no rain. That's going to wait until late tomorrow night, really Thursday morning. Doesn't even begin until, say, 3 a.m., and at that point, it's super light. We may even get through the morning commute on Thursday without having any significant rainfall at all. So this has been delayed a bit. I had a feeling we wouldn't get any rain tomorrow, and we're pushing it into Thursday. So still dry. Clouds are rolling in, though, and then rain all weekend. I think you might like the answer to that question. We'll have that in a bit, guys.
Okay, looking forward to hearing more about that. Thanks, Matt. In your headlines, we start with an update. A Southeast Portland liquor store employee who was having a heart attack as the store was robbed has died. You may remember Jason Hay collapsed behind the register at Bins and Barrels last month. Security cameras appear to show a man posing as a Good Samaritan, then stealing hundreds of dollars from a back room. Police are still searching for that suspect. Meantime, there is a candlelight vigil next Sunday at 5 p.m. at Bins and Barrels to remember Hay.
A Beaverton man is in custody accused of attacking a Cornelius home with guns and at least one explosive device. The Washington County Sheriff's Office says Samuel Lund targeted 2 people on Thursday at a home on North 10th Avenue and left the front door riddled with bullet holes and battered by an explosion. No one was hurt. Authorities say London knew the victims and that they found additional explosive devices in his home. The suspect faces multiple charges, including attempted murder and arson.
A new report shows chain restaurant prices are higher in Washington than any other state in the country. The Washington Hospitality Association found diners spend nearly 14% more than the national average. California and Oregon really aren't too far behind, with prices 13% and 9% higher than the national average, respectively. The report points to higher operating costs, state and local taxes and fees, as well as supply chain costs.